Hello, everybody. Welcome to Global R&D of May 2023. I'm very proud to present today's agenda. So I'll start with a feedback on the feedback board, an update on that we just presented the last time. Then we'll have like two demos from the community, one from Mora and the other one from Bioniq. And then we'll finish off with a few updates on BTC Miami, ckBTC promos, recent activities around SNS and what's going on there, like all the projects that we see lining up, which is very great to see. And then we'll finish with an update on the status of Ethereum integration by Dieter. So let's get at it, and let's go to this slide indeed. So here's the feedback board that we've introduced like last time, and actually I'm very happy that a lot of you have already used it and given us feedback. It's almost exploded, and well, of course that means there's a ton of work for us to do, but then also it really helps us to prioritize some of the work and listen to the feedback from developers, from the community. And so today I want to give some immediate response already on what we have done, how we have taken what up feedback, and of course, by all means, continue with that. And the first one is actually like next slide here. Since this feedback board was so successful, and a lot of you already gave feedback to us on what we should change in development or what other features you request, we would like to do the same for Global R&D. So here's another feedback board. Please click on it, and I guess somebody's going to share that link also in the chat. So while we're at Global R&D, if there's something else you would want us to talk, give some feedback, use the board. If you don't have like your own feedback, maybe, but like some feedback from somebody else, upvote that feedback, and then we will can take that into consideration for our next Global R&D. So go there and be active on the other board, and yeah, thanks a lot for that. Good. Then let's see what kind of feedback we got on the developer feedback board. Next slide here. And I don't recall the actual number, but really the board was exploding, and there was a few smallish requests, and those we have already done, like 18 of them we've done. You can actually check for yourself. You can go to the board, click on which items were already done, so you can actually track yourself there as well. And you know, if there's small things and we know about it, now we learn about it, let's just get them done and make your or developers' life easier. There's a few more, maybe bigger things. And the next slide here, please. So of course, the larger items, we just can't get them done like that because there's like no magical coder, I guess. And so here on those like top requested larger items, we've turned them into like what we call like internally at the foundation features, and we turned them actually into then work items that we're already working on. So the first one is the cycles ledger. So right now, when you want to deploy a canister, it's sort of awkward because you have these like cycles. Somehow you need to do that. And the request here is that actually there is a ledger where you can actually own cycles, and that from there you can send them to your canisters. So here the design is in progress, because we are making good progress. We knew that this was an issue, and we sort of kept thinking about it on and off, but now this is like an official feature, and hopefully coding on this one will start very soon. The second one is like the increased WASM limit, so that when you install a WASM module, this module is capped at 2 megabytes, and that's like a pain for developers. And actually, to be fully honest, here this is well, it came up on the board as well, but here we're already working on that because that was mentioned a ton of times during the ICP labs that we were running. So this is also work in progress, but of course it came up again. So I'm very happy to report, maybe if this wasn't clear, that we are working on this and making good progress. The next one is a new one. It's just this is controller guard. So here the ask was that there is some system level solution to determine if the caller of a method is actually a controller. So here this is also not, this is a smaller issue. So here we're actually already nearing completion for both Motoko and Rust. The last one on this list, this is actually one that we haven't started up work because it just got upvoted very recently. And here the difference is, the issue is that there's difference in results when you get them in Motoko and Rust, which sort of causes annoying type conversions. And so that's now, I guess, also in starting at the very beginning of our roadmap process. And so that will be added to the roadmap, and we hope to start working on that very soon, depending on how much work this will be and how we can fold that in. So yeah, I guess next slide here. So again, thanks a lot for all the feedback that you've submitted. Please keep it coming. This is very helpful, and I hope you also find that helpful, and hope that this really features you want to get addressed. I mean, please do the feedback board, but also if you want to get use good old GitHub to have feedback there, discussions there, please, of course, also you continue to use there. Good. So thanks on that. And now we're gonna start towards the demos. So next slide. So the first demo, and actually here. Take this one from my board. So I guess you know, like, did you ever want to own a planet? So this is my planet I have, and it's like a Mora planet, and yeah, Mora allows that, and so you can own your own planet. And today we have Peter and Paul with us, who can tell us more like how we can get a planet, our own planet, and what to do with it. So Peter and Paul, please take it away.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Jan. Hi. My name is Paul. I'm a DFINITY engineer. I'm here to help with translation and introduce Mora and the team behind Mora. So we also have here Peter Huang. He is the founder of Mora. Hey, Peter.
Hi, everyone.
We'll go through a couple slides to introduce Mora and its architecture before we show a live demo. And if you have any questions, please ask at the end of the demo. So Mora is positioning itself as a tool for super creators. We'll get into what is a super creator a little bit later. Peter and his team, they are actually veterans of both Web 2 and Web 3. They're very hardcore builders. In fact, they have launched not only one, but two projects before Mora on the internet computer. One is the II market, where you can buy your favorite anchor number. And the other is a secure note-taking tool that stores everything fully encrypted in a canister. And the user actually owns 100% the canister. So here you can already see the idea of data sovereignty and autonomy. And Mora is their third product, is taking this idea one step further. So Mora at its core consists of many planets. A content creator is free to create his or her own planets, right? Each planet, the content creator can create articles, can store data, and it also stores everything from payments to user relationship. It has a subscription model. So everything that's self-sufficient is entirely stored in the planet itself. In fact, if you go to mora.app, the landing page, right, you see a list of things, but that's just a portal. It can lead you to the content of a planet, but the planet is fully owned by its creator. So that's why Mora calls itself peer-to-peer, because here everything is fully decentralized and is fully owned by the content creator, him or herself. In fact, they can also take their planets to other portals. Maybe they can even build their own websites or their own landing page to show off their own planets. So with this, we can see a demo.
我们首先看一下登录，我们使用了 Web 2和 Web 3的这个登录，这个 Web 2的登录通过 Web 3 Author 已经接进来了，我们可以通过很多方式来进行这样一个登录，我们演示使用 II 登录。
So first, we saw there are many different ways to log in to Mora, right? Not only just Web3, we also support like Web2 login facilities. So here we demo using internet identity.
我们已经登录了，我们在首页可以看到我的订阅、我的数据流，还有最受欢迎的星球以及收入最高的星球。
So on the landing page, we can see a couple of tabs, including once you log in, it will show my subscriptions and also show the feed of mostly other planets and also what's most popular and what's highest earners.
接下去我们演示创建一个星球，也就是智能合约。
Now we'll demo how to create a planet. In other words, it's a smart contract on the internet computer. So after filling some information, it's starting to create a canister on a internet computer, and the canister is fully owned by the creator.
OK， 我们已经创建出一个智能合约了，然后我们将使用这个星球进行编辑器的演示。
Now we have already created a new planet, but we'll demo the editor using an existing planet.
我们在编辑器里可以轻松的插入数学公式。
So in editor, you can actually insert anything like from mathematical formula and also attachments.
我们也可以轻松插入 IC 上的存储资源。
So the attachments is actually connecting to other storage solutions on the internet computer itself. It's called MetaBox.
我们也可以轻松的插入引入这些 YouTuber 的这个视频资源等外部的这些资源。
Or references to like YouTube pages, videos.
我们也可以在这里通过 Lite 插入任意的这样一个智能合约插件，它可以连接 IC 上的任意的智能合约，任何作者都可以通过我们的 Lite 平台创建与这个智能合约的这样一个交互。
So most importantly, there's a Lite plugin. Is something very innovative on Mora. So this allows this plugin to interact with any canister on the IC. So there are many different ways to create this plugin and many different ways for users to interact with the plugin. So that's why we call this is a tool for super creators. It's not just for creating static content, but also interactive contents.
这是一个结果的演示，我们可以看到这个插件它已经把 ckBTC 的实时数据已经拿到了。
So now you see the rendering results of the page we just created. The Lite plugin actually shows the ckBTC real-time statistics.
我的演示结束了，谢谢大家。
All right, that's the end of our short demo. Thank you all. And if you have any questions, please ask now.
I guess there was one question: what happens if somebody uploads copyrighted videos to the platform?
这个问题就是问的是，假如说有人上传了，比如说侵权的这个 video 啊，或者是一些作品呢，你们是怎么处理的？
我们会把这个智能合约脱离我们平台，但它的数据这个不会丢失，但是我们会控制它的展示权限，但它的数据依然在它的智能合约。
Mora.app is the landing page. You can see it as a portal, right? We can actually remove the copyright infringing content from the landing page, but the creator still has the control of his own content. It's just users visiting the landing page wouldn't be able to see it.
Cool, thanks for these answers. I think we have to move on, but then you can also ask questions on the chat and get them answered there. And also, if there were some unclarities about what to do with the feedback board for Global R&D, it's really, I mean, it can give feedback about today's Global R&D, what you liked, what you want to see more, but also like what you want to see like next, the Global R&D or the following one. Just feedback in general, like everything is welcome. Put it there, upvote it if you like it, and so on and so forth. So let's go to the next demo. And I'm sure you all have realized that now Bitcoiners have started to get crazy about NFTs lately. And I'm delighted that we have like one of the top projects on ICP in that space now, thinking about ordinals, talking to Bitcoiners about all of that. And yeah, so this is the next demo. Bob, so what are you guys doing, and when can I get the Bitcoin NFT up on my wall here?
Yeah, we're definitely going to need to get you an ordinal on your wall for sure. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Excited to come talk about Bioniq. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Bob Bodley. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Bioniq. So you can take a look while I talk about it. Bioniq is an ordinals marketplace. So to start off, I wanted to talk a little bit about what ordinals are and why we decided to build a Bitcoin NFT marketplace on ICP. There are three main parts to what an ordinal is. The first part is called ordinal theory. So with Bitcoin, every single Satoshi has a specific date on which it was mined. And so you give it a sequential number starting at 0 and ending at almost 2.1 quadrillion. That's the first part. The second part is you can, using SegWit and Taproot, store image or other content in the input of a Bitcoin transaction. So you can actually store content 100% on chain on Bitcoin. That's the second piece to ordinals. That's called an inscription. And the third piece is we need to associate that inscription to a token, which is a single Satoshi. And the current protocol dictates that the inscription is associated with the first sat of the first output of that transaction. So that's ordinals. People started inscribing ordinals on Bitcoin around middle of January. And there has been absolutely massive traction since then. Here's the Dune dashboard with all the analytics on ordinals. Volume, almost $180 million in volume, 350,000 trades, almost 100,000 unique users, and then a variety of marketplaces here. Some marketplaces building on kind of Ethereum, like Ordinals Market, a lot of marketplaces using PSBTs, partially signed Bitcoin transactions to enable trustless swaps. We decided to go a different direction with our marketplace, and we are building Bioniq fully on ICP. And the reason we're building Bioniq on ICP is because of the Bitcoin integration, as well as because of ckBTC. And specifically, we are using ckBTC in our marketplace. You can see here that the main currency here in Bioniq is just Bitcoin and ckBTC. You'll notice you won't even see ICP over here. And even in like your inscriptions, you won't see your ICP NFTs either. This was intentional. We're really trying to attract the Bitcoin and Ethereum NFT communities that are really interested in ordinals. And so we're trying to make this feel like a native Bitcoin NFT marketplace for them. So ckBTC is the main currency. The beautiful thing about ckBTC is once it's wrapped, then you get 2 to 5 second finality, and every transfer is 10 Satoshis for the fee, which is at least 30 times cheaper than a normal Bitcoin transaction, but likely much more than that. So Bioniq has a built-in wallet. We had to do a built-in wallet because we need to handle things on the Bitcoin side as well as things on the ICP side. So you can hold Bitcoin, you can receive and send Bitcoin just like a normal Bitcoin wallet. You can also hold and receive ckBTC, just like an ICP wallet, and you can convert between the two. Just really conveniently here, we've integrated with ckBTC. minter. You can also send Bitcoin or ckBTC, receive Bitcoin or ckBTC. For authentication, we're using Web3 Auth. Web3 Auth lets us give people kind of login with Gmail and other easy to use login methods. And we have my inscriptions view. So this is just your my NFTs view, essentially. You can see all of the inscriptions that you have. I can click on this one. We can actually look at more information and get a bunch of kind of technical information here about the specific block that the inscription was included in and how many sats for fee was paid and the timestamp, and then, you know, some information about the image and where it's currently residing. We're really, really excited about building Bioniq on ICP. I think we really get a chance to make Bitcoin better with ICP. And we've been pushing, well, I've specifically been pushing really hard, trying to leverage ICP in order to build interesting things to make Bitcoin better. Just yesterday, I posted in the forum about an initiative building a decentralized meta protocol indexer on ICP, which I think is really interesting. And then last night I was up way too late trying to figure out how to do a ECDSA inscription from a canister. Haven't figured it out yet, but I'm close. I'm tantalizingly close. So really excited about that. That will enable kind of decentralized launch pads for ordinals on ICP. And then I don't know if any of you have been following the fungible token craze, but if you look here, the big spike here in volume was because of BRC20. BRC20 is a meta protocol built on top of the Ordinals protocol, built on top of Bitcoin. It's basically fungible tokens or meme coins on Bitcoin. It is as wild and crazy as it sounds, but ICP can make Bitcoin better. And so I think there's a way to do a BRC20 token wrapper on ICP. So you could take your really, inefficient fungible token standard on Bitcoin, wrap it over to the ICP side, and start to bring over some of that liquidity to ICP dexes or, ordinals marketplaces, etc. So, yeah, very excited about all of the work we're doing and others are doing to bring Bitcoin onto ICP. And yeah, happy to answer some questions. I think I have another minute or two.
Is there some other question? Because the question that I see on the chat is when Bioniq wallet and marketplace launch?
Yeah, we want to launch as soon as humanly possible. But I've been saying that for weeks now. We are doing final testing, doing final integration. You'll see that I'm on deploy preview here, so you won't actually get access to this, but we have wallet, we have marketplace coming, doing final testing. So, it's probably low number of weeks, maybe sooner, until marketplace launch.
And there's another question about the authentication choice.
Yeah, so we are leveraging our smart contract wallet, Volt. And in order for Volt to work, we need authorizations longer than 30 days. And that means we can't use an internet identity-based authentication method. So we couldn't use NFID, couldn't use internet identity, and we needed some kind of like persistent private key. So that's why we went with Web3 Auth for now. Long-term goal is to integrate all ICP wallets and all Bitcoin wallets and just make it really nice and seamless for users, but had to start somewhere.
Cool. I guess the last one, what has been the early feedback from the BTC folks?
Yeah, so I've been very involved in the Ordinals community for the past February, March, April, May, 4 months. And feedback has been really good. I go into those conversations pitching ICP as a Bitcoin sidechain, which is probably going to feel really weird to a lot of you, knowing that ICP can do so much more. But pitching it as a Bitcoin sidechain, people are like, oh yeah, I know what Stacks does, and I know, SBTC coming later this year. And ckBTC is a really nice analog or, parallel to to what's going on in the Stacks ecosystem. So it actually goes over really, really well. Lots of people very interested in making Bitcoin better with ICP.
Cool. Thanks, Bob. Very happy how you bring ICP to the Bitcoin masters here. And I think, yeah, we really need that outreach. We need more people understanding what ICP can do. And even if it's just as a side chain to Bitcoin, I have no problem with that whatsoever. I mean, if all the Bitcoiners use it. And actually, it's really about getting the message out here. And for that, as we go to the upside, like the update slides, we decided to do some guerrilla marketing campaign at Bitcoin Miami. And Kyle and a few others were on the ground here. So Kyle, tell us, what did you do? What happened?
Yeah, Kyle Langham, Director of Data and Analytics at DFINITY. Actually, it's great following up Bob's presentation because these two presentations flow well together. I was down at Bitcoin Miami with some other ICP people. Bob was there. I got to meet him in person, probably the highlight of my 2023. And so anyway, so I want to key on a couple key narratives that we heard talking with Bitcoiners down at Bitcoin Miami. Bob's kind of actually teed this up really well. The first one is Bitcoin Maxi is dead. A Bitcoin Maxi is the person, if you want to be on the main stage of Bitcoin Miami, you need to be a Maxi. If you want to get a lot of Twitter followers, you should be a Maxi. But the vast majority of Bitcoiners were surprisingly open to other chains, to other solutions. Bob actually defined it perfectly, make Bitcoin better. That seems to be what everyone is interested in. Every Bitcoiner, and whether or not that's a side chain, another L1, some sort of scalable solution, they are interested. And they see the limitations of their current solution. So like Lightning Network, talked with a lot of people who are concerned over scalability and centralization on the network. It was surprising how often people recognize the name the Internet Computer. A lot of people recognize DOM as well, and but they recognize that they'd heard the name before and maybe didn't know a lot about us. And so it was not uncommon for somebody to say, "Oh, the Internet Computer, I heard that's the future," but not really know much more beyond that. And I think that actually speaks really well to my next point, which is there's some fertile ground there within Bitcoiners, right? They're open to learning more about the Internet Computer. We have a very similar ethos and principles, especially regarding decentralization. I talked a lot about open chat while I was there. That's part of that guerrilla marketing. And a lot of Bitcoiners expressed surprise and amazement that there's an entire chat app built 100% on chain. And so anyways, I think there's some fertile ground there. We should definitely be looking at talking with Bitcoiners, building solutions for them, and not being afraid that they're going to push back under some sort of maxi mentality. Next slide. So let's go into details on the promo. The promotion, I think, was perfect for highlighting a lot of the benefits of the Internet Computer, a lot of the work the R&D team have done. And essentially the way this promo worked was there's a team of us. We had these little coaster-sized cards that had the ckBTC logo on one side, and then on the other side had a QR code, which is there on the screen. Participants who scanned that QR code were walked into to sign up for a new internet identity. They got to see the new redesigned internet identity. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go log into an app with internet identity. The workflow is much smoother and much more pleasing to go through. And then once they completed that, they were given 50,000 Satoshis in ckBTC within an open chat wallet. We had, actually, when I made this slide, we had 830 signups, 831 signups. You can see the bar graphs. The first, the May 19th, May 18th, May 19th, May 20th, those were the dates of the conference. So those were signups from people who were at Bitcoin Miami. And then after the conference, we experimented with some different ways to run this promotion online and to determine what might succeed for future promotions. And we learned a lot from it. Again, it comes back to that idea of Bitcoiners are really open to new products, new ways to use Bitcoin. And the idea of like a ckBTC being a currency that the internet can run on is certainly appealing to them. So whether that's sending ckBTC at the speed of chat, or whether it's using it in Plethora or Qtopia, or using it in a DEX, there's a lot of excitement there. Next slide, please. And finally, one of the things we found is influencers at the conference really happy to talk with us. We fostered a lot of relationships. You'll see some of the highlights from those pictures there. I'm just going to encourage everyone. Influencers have a desire for interesting projects, interesting technology, and the internet computer is perfect for that. I will say influencers are very open to having conversations with us and including material. There were more than one influencers that focus on Bitcoin who came up to us to specifically point out that they had done a YouTube video or a TikTok video on the internet computer. So people are already, even Bitcoin influencers are already talking about the internet computer. Again, fertile ground there. And then also you can see on the right there, that's Blockchain Boy. He was kind enough to help us out with the promotion. I'm just going to say, if you're a recognizable face, you're more likely to succeed in a promotion than somebody like me. And so Blockchain Boy definitely helped us out a lot. And so feel free to kind of think about that if you're running an app or you're a user of a DAO ran app. Think about influencers and how they can improve getting your communications out there. And I think next slide. I think that's my time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kyle. Thanks for the report and also for being on the ground, talking to all these influencers and spreading the message. And this was just really like one of the events. I mean, we are going to other events as well, and to campaign similar, different ones all over the place. And also here, if you have suggestions, comment, I might remind you of the feedback dashboard that we just opened. So go there and use it. Now, talking about the ckBTC and like and Miami, where we gave away Satoshis so that people could go and open chat and send them around. I mean, this is just like one of the projects where people can actually use ckBTC, and then there were like a ton of other projects already on ICP that also where you can use ckBTC as well. I mean, obviously, you can go to internetcomputer.org, the ecosystem, and actually filter for Bitcoin and ckBTC. And a lot of these projects also ran promos on how to use ckBTC. And here we have Ben, who has an update for us on this. Ben, please.
Hi, I'm Ben from DFINITY. So I would like to introduce you to our promotional campaigns in partnership with ecosystem projects for ckBTC. The campaigns ran from February until end of April. And the projects each had a slightly different time slot. So this really inspired the projects to build products that use ckBTC. The OpenChat promotional campaign was OpenChat developed a feature where they could drop a red packet with random amounts that users can claim into the chat groups. And Catalyze hosted writing competitions. Discover had the month-long engagement campaign for top users of their platform, and Plethora developed a treasure hunting game using ckBTC. And this also inspired projects to build features that would actually use ckBTC persistently. So OpenChat now users can send ckBTC around to other users, and Discover as well. You can tip other users using ckBTC. And these, the ckBTC promotional campaign really helped the users to, the projects to focus on the features and develop persisting ckBTC features. And IC Lighthouse also hosted this event with trading rewards of the ckBTC ICP pair. Next slide, please. Some social highlights. This ckBTC campaign that we ran in collaboration with the partnership projects generated overall over 800K social impressions. That is an estimated number, of course, and more than 20K Twitter likes and 15K retweets. Next slide, please. During this promotional campaign period, there has been 35,000 ckBTC transactions, And the promotion dropped ckBTC to 5,000 wallets. Many of these happened before we had the ckBTC minting live. So this really kicked off ckBTC usage in the ecosystem. And users started to send ckBTC around to exchange ckBTC. So up until now, there has been 22 ckBTC and 120K ICP trading volume on IC Lighthouse. For the promotional campaign, the average cost of acquiring new ckBTC users was $7. This is slightly higher than the initial target that we set out to do, but it's still a very good number in the bear market. And this is the cost of acquiring a ckBTC user. When projects are doing campaigns via their social media, they acquired more users for their platforms as a result of this campaign. Next, please. So here we can look at the graph of the ckBTC user growth during this campaign. On the left-hand side, we can see the total number of total transactions. We can see that it started in beginning mid of February, and during this campaign, up until the first week of March, it really grew a lot. And then we can see over here, there has been a few weeks of plateau. This is because we were rolling out the KYT feature of the ckBTC. So there has been some delay in some of these promotional campaigns. And afterwards, it spiked up again. So on the right-hand side, we can see the unique addresses. So yeah, the campaign, I would say, generated 7,000 unique addresses for the ckBTC. So, and also we can see the plateau in this graph as well. So I would say that this is really a successful campaign. Next, please. So some feedbacks from the projects and takeaways. So projects overall see the campaign as really, really successful. And the campaign helped drive user engagement and also helped the projects to prioritize feature development. Projects usually think it's hard to keep low CIC. So yeah, probably we set the CIC goal a bit too ambitiously. But then, yeah, they reached $7 CIC, which was still a very good number. The KYT delay disrupted some of the marketing efforts and momentum during this campaign. And in the future, if we were to have such disruptions, we probably should better coordinate the marketing efforts. And the projects expect the CK ETH promo in the future to be more successful because Ethereum people are just more used to this campaign of running with on-chain interactions, but that probably has changed because of the BRC20 and the ordinals. So yeah, feedback from my side is I think projects should probably work harder on retaining users after the promotion campaign. We see for some projects there has been some drops after this campaign. So you know, maybe some more promotional activities or delivery of new features that would retain these users. I think that's really helpful for the user retention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben, for this report. And yeah, so let's move on. I guess we cannot have like a global R&D without ever talking about SNS. And in particular, since lately, a lot of projects have been active on the forum proposing to move on with SNS, discussing. So this is I'm very delighted to see all of this. And over to Lomesh, who can tell us much more about what's going on here and what we can expect.
Hey everyone, this is Lomesh. I'm the Vice President of Growth at DFINITY. So next slide, please. Awesome. So I think one of the things, as Jan was mentioning, is like SNS is like a really hot topic in the community right now, and we have like lots of projects essentially reaching out to us and trying to understand like what does it take for them to launch an SNS. As you can see that like we are making on the engineering R&D side, we are making a lot of improvements in the process, but in the meantime, what we have rolled out recently on the forum, as well as if you scan the QR code, then this is like the Google Sheet version of the SNS readiness checklist. So essentially, it covers a few things. So for example, it kind of lays out what would it take for you to be essentially ready for launching an SNS. So the documentation side, it covers things around the tokenomics. How does the token adds utility to your project? What's your initial token allocation like? How much voting power you are anticipating? Funding target, and so on. So there's also like an SNS tokenomics tool that's available for you to essentially play with some of the numbers and try to define your own tokenomics. Additionally, you also have aspects around, okay, like before you launch an SNS, you should be ready with, let's say, the guidelines are around ready with your technical architecture, white paper, as well as a project roadmap, and also like work through the different disclosure and so on. Now, when we think about the technical preparation and testing, then you should like things that you should think about are like security review, the audit aspect, as you would have seen in one of the recent SNS attempts with the Sonic team. So I think you should carefully look at how does this apply to you, and also includes things around open sourcing, creating reproducible builds. Because when you think about an SNS, this is a time where you will be essentially delegating the control to a DAO. So your project will have to be open source. So you should be thinking about what licenses to use, so on and so forth. The third thing, which is like probably the most critical, I think, as all of you think about SNS, the key to understand is like you are essentially presenting your project to the community, and you are essentially inviting the community members to come and participate in your launch. So it's very critical for you to explain to the community all about your like tokenomics, white paper. Why does your project have certain strengths relative to others? So this is basically an opportunity for the community to really evaluate your project and be able to say, okay, yes, we are willing to participate and also kind of pledge some ICP to this project. So I think it really behooves for all of the projects to think hard about this phase. So like what we recommend generally is like you should post on the forum, allow a couple of weeks for the community to kind of understand, answer questions about your, respond to questions about your project, so that the community is more comfortable before you submit an actual proposal. I think the next and the last step is essentially all around the SNS launch workflow. So it kind of covers everything from submitting your canister creation proposal, your SNS canisters, how do you give the handover of your dApp to the SNS, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, scan the QR code. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to reach out to our team, and we'll be able to help you through in any of the technical considerations. Next slide, please. All right, so I also wanted to kind of give you an update of a few upcoming SNSs. I mean, the timeline is based on what I have learned from different projects. So I've basically covered the projects which are tentatively targeting the June timeline. As you can see, like the dates for anything cannot be fixed because these teams would submit proposal and the community can take like as much time, like basically discussing their proposal, or like basically they may take different times on voting. So the timeline is never set in stone, but these are some of the projects that we know are coming in the next few weeks. Before I kind of talk about these projects, one of the things to really understand is that as DFINITY, we recommend you to do your own research on each of these projects. We have not done code reviews for any of these projects. We have not done white paper analysis for these projects. We don't know if it's a good for you to participate or not. So we would recommend you to use your own judgment. So this is mainly for informational purposes for you to understand what are some of the projects planning to do, so that maybe you can kind of go through their white paper, ask questions from these teams on the forum and be really comfortable before you decide to participate. So this one project that's coming soon, Hot or Not. So for those who are not familiar, it's a short video app which we call similar to TikTok, but they have a very interesting twist to it. So the users can essentially stake tokens, and they can essentially try to determine or try to place a bet on whether this video is going to go viral or not, whether this video is going to trend or not. They have been seeing a fair bit of traction recently. They have about 72,000 users, around 1.2 million votes on Hot or Not game within 4 weeks of launch. They also recently contribute to a big burn in the ICP cycle burn growth rate. So clearly some action on this side of things. In terms of their roadmap, which I took from their white paper, so they're planning after SNS, they're planning to launch their native apps. They're also building things around location segregation of content for better user experience. So someone in the US should be seeing more local content versus, let's say, someone in Europe or Asia, and so on and so forth. As well as they have some GameFi elements planned. So here's a link to the white paper in case you would like to explore more. They're targeting in June. Next slide, please. Another one that's coming. So this is a project which got launched in Supernova. They were also one of the category winners in Supernova, Bioniq. So it's the world's first Web3 search engine. They're currently focused on ICP, but they do have bigger plans to expand to more chains post the SNS. So that's one of the key goals they have in their roadmap. They have around 5,000 MEUs currently. One of the big things that they are focused on is zero knowledge ML powered search engine. So this team is also coming. It's the same team as ICME, and they have published on their blog around these topics around zero knowledge, machine learning, and how it could basically expand the search. Right now, they're all on ICP, but they do plan to index data from other chains, including IPFS and Arweave. And of course, they're looking to explore more on-chain LLMs for advanced Web3 search queries. Next slide, please. This is a team from Asia, so not many of you may be familiar with them, but they recently started being a lot more active on the forum. They do have a lot of activity in Asia. So what they are trying to build is essentially an AI-focused layer 2 on the IC. So essentially, they plan to have these GPU nodes, which would serve for training AI data. And they are using Canister for essentially so they want to run their entire economic model using tokens, ICRC tokens that they plan to launch in the Canister. So what they are trying to do is they're trying to use IC for scheduling of the different jobs that are assigned to these nodes. They're also and how those get paid would be all kind of done through IC. Originally, this team was thinking of building a layer 1 on their own, but then once they saw and started digging into IC, they realized a lot of this stuff that they were looking to do can actually be done simply within a single canister. So they have also published their white paper and are also in the process of updating it. They launched their testnet recently, and they have about 100 nodes across 20 countries. They have also been getting some good community traction, and especially in the Asia market. I believe each of their AMAs have seen more than 10,000 participants. Recently, they also did a pre-sale before the SNS, and they raised about 600K. These are some of the things that they are planning to do post the SNS launch. So essentially around a computing power marketplace and AI application focused app store. So you can learn more about them again from their white paper. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Lomesh. And I guess I also want to maybe add here like launching an SNS is really the first step into getting your own community to have a governance system to your own project. But also it means you're already participating in a governance system, namely the NNS, right? And that has a community of its own. And it's first step of actually working with a community and convincing the community to accept the proposal. And later on, there will be much more on that, like submitting proposals to update your own DApp. And I think that cannot be stressed how much of a mental shift that is if you're at DFINITY, we sort of went through the same thing here, right? We were developing, and then at some point, boom, you have a governance system. Now you have a community to work with, and I think that cannot be underestimated. And it's very important for a successful project to also have like a community that interacts, that votes, participates, and so on and so forth. So, well, I guess you can have a very technical view on it, submit a proposal, get accepted. No, it's just actually democracy. It's a governance system, and it's a very great thing to have. And but you also need to actually make use of it and do it properly. So I guess last but not least, we have an update on the Ethereum integration, and hopefully this will be as big or probably even bigger than the Bitcoin integration. And so, Dieter, tell us where we are with that.
Thank you, Jan. Next slide, please. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dieter from the DFINITY Foundation, and it's my pleasure now to give you an update on the Ethereum integration. So what is this all about? Just to recap, it's about integrating the internet computer blockchain with the Ethereum blockchain. And this allows then that smart contracts on the internet computer can interact with those on the Ethereum network and vice versa. So very powerful. Why are we doing that? So Ethereum is the largest smart contract blockchain in the world with most token volume contained, and that's why it's the clear choice of the next network after Bitcoin to integrate with. And it gives advantages in multiple ways. So on the one hand, it enhances Ethereum with the ICP's capabilities, for example, having access to Oracle-less Web 2 via HTTP out calls, serving web directly from smart contracts, hosting Ethereum frontends, for example, unlimited scaling of the internet computer we all know about very well, and the low fixed cost when running smart contracts on the internet computer. And of course, on the other hand, it also benefits the IC ecosystem by allowing to bring Ether and ERC20 tokens over to the internet computer and boost our DeFi ecosystem. And now, how are we doing that? So there's a couple of phases involved here for the Ethereum integration, as well as building CK Ether and CK ERC20 tokens. Now on the next slide, let me show you what's about phase 0. So we haven't talked about this yet, but I would like to do so because it's the important building blocks that are there already for the Ethereum integration, namely chain key signing, which is the threshold ECDSA protocol suite that allows for a trustless integration with ECDSA-based blockchains, and then HTTP out calls, which plays a big role in the phase 1 and also in a different capacity in phase 2 of the Ethereum integration. So those two things are there already and are fundamental building blocks for what we are going to do in the Ethereum integration. And now on the next slide, let me give you an overview of the things that are happening and will be happening. So phase 1 is about integrating the internet computer with the Ethereum network using HTTP out calls to Web 2-based JSON RPC providers like Infura or Gateway.fm. And this integration is not trustless, but if it's done right, like if you query multiple of those parties, it's good enough to get started with. And in the middle, you see bringing Ethereum tokens to the internet computer. We are designing this currently. And this is all about CK Ether and CK ERC20 tokens like stablecoins, for example, USD coin or Tether. And on the right side, you see phase 2, which is coming later, which is the native integration, the trustless integration of the internet computer with the Ethereum network based on running full Ethereum nodes on the IC machines on one subnet and using IC's consensus and a modified HTTP out calls feature to interact with the Ethereum network through IC's consensus protocol. On the next slide, let me start with more details on phase 1. So phase 1, as I said, is the integration using HTTP out calls between the IC and the Ethereum network. work has been done already, and there's an open source example canister available. This canister, if you deploy it, and anyone can do so, exposes an on-chain Ethereum JSON RPC API, which you can use to interact with Ethereum, and the canister internally translates calls to this on-chain API to calls to those Web2-based API providers using the HTTP outcalls. And the canister is licensed with the permissive Apache 2 license, and you can all use it now if you want to integrate with Ethereum already now. And the approach we're doing here is expected to be refined in lockstep with the further work on ckEther and ckERC20, because those applications are likely to bring some more subtle requirements in for what we need from the Ethereum integration. That's why this work we will continue with this ckETH and ERC20 line of work. On the next slide, let me give an overview on where we stand with ckETH and ERC20. So there have been discussions on who should build this. Finally, the outcome was that DFINITY themselves will build ckETH and ERC20. So what's that all about? It means building an ICRC1 and 2, and in the future 3 compliant token ledger, and Minter, who in concert provide a trustless integration with Ethereum in the sense of bringing those Ethereum and ERC20 tokens over to the internet computer. And initially, this feature will use HTTP outcalls to these Ethereum RPC providers, and later switch to the phase 2 native integration. And also we will openly develop this so that everybody can follow, and also designs will be shared. This feature is a high priority feature because it's so important for the IC ecosystem, for example, DeFi, to get those things going. And now, why the decision to build this ourselves? There's multiple reasons which speak for this being built by the foundation and not by community project. Let me go through them. So, for example, one thing that was perceived extremely important is that ckETH and ckERC20 should be a public infrastructure service. So a public good, much like the internet computer itself, meaning that you can use it with minimal fees as a developer and build your own profitable projects on top. But the idea is that the entity running this and building this should not make a profit from it, but it should be a public service, a public good. So very important. And this doesn't lend very well to having it built by the community. And now also a very important property here is, or what we want is that we want a guaranteed longer maintenance. That's also something that wasn't very easy to get from a community built project. And that's why the foundation commits to building and also maintaining this implementation in the long term, so that everybody can be assured that this will be available in the long run. And also the product will be run by the NNS DAO governance, meaning it's controlled by one of the largest or even the largest DAOs in the world, which means it gets security in terms of how it's governed. And now for all of those reasons, it's built by DFINITY, and we think this is the best decision to move forward. And here the design has already started. We are evaluating different designs now, and soon also the implementation will be started by a dedicated team at DFINITY. Now on the next slide, let me give you an update on phase 2. So as I said, now we are building phase 1 based on HTTP outcalls initially, which means phase 2 is currently less urgent, but still important. So we put now the strong focus on ckETH and the ERC20 as mentioned, and only later continue with phase 2, and in the longer run switch over also to phase 2 for the ckETH and ckERC20. And we think that ckETH and the ckERC20 will be an important source of requirements also for phase 2, which means phase 2 can get better following this phased approach than it could be otherwise. And that is what I want to conclude with and give back the word to Jan.
Thanks, Dieter, for your update. Thanks, everybody, for presenting all the exciting news and projects. And we've reached our end. We're also at time. So thanks, everybody, and see you again in about a month from now, which is June 28th. See you there. Thanks a lot for joining and contributing. Goodbye.